Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Omni Building in beautiful Euclid, Ohio. You know what it is. It's the Cleveland Sports 360 show with your host, LG. Today, no other than former Browns fullback, my man Lawrence Vickers is on the show today. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because he's here. LG!
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Cleveland Sports 360 show. We got a lineup for you tonight with one of the favorite Cleveland Browns players since the return in 1999 of the Cleveland Browns. Everywhere I went, everybody I talked to are excited that we have Lawrence Vickers joining us live tonight. And I find it amazing, Kenyon, that Lawrence Vickers was born in Beaumont, Texas. Beaumont, Texas, man.
Nothing wrong with them Texas kids, man.
You know who else was born in Beaumont, Texas? Beaumont, Texas is our buddy, Herman Fontenot.
Herm, yes.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Herman Fontenot right down there in Beaumont, Texas. You know he left Cleveland last January to go down and help take care of his grandmother. And this week was a huge week for Herman Fontenot. His guy that he coached all the way through high school, through college, taught him how to run routes and everything else, Jordan White, the newest member of the New York Jets, man.
Nothing like playing in New York, man. It's prime time.
Hey, this kid, man, this kid had 140 catches in Michigan, 2,000 yards. He just, he ran the routes Herman taught him. He ran the same exact routes Herman Fontenot used to run, man, that made him a successful player at LSU and also showed Herman some success with the Cleveland Browns, man. Beaumont, Texas must breed these guys to teach football, to play football, and to excel at football, man. But Herman's got to be excited. Jordan White from our own North Royalton, Ohio, going to the New York Jets. Jordan White will be T-Bone in Times Square come New Year's Eve, man. Yeah, mark it now.
That's got to be your second favorite team right now in the NFL, the New York Jets. I mean, they're stock loading talent. They have so many picks in this draft. They putting it together there. And Tebow, that's your boy.
I'll tell you one thing right now. I'm looking forward to Mr. Fontenot hooking me up with Jordan White. I'm going to talk to Herman later on tonight. We didn't have a lot of time before the show. I'm gonna get the lowdown on this Jordan White. We're gonna follow him all the way through training camp this year. Kenyon, who the hell knows? Me and you might even have to make a trip to the Big Apple and see what's going on, man.
If I got front row tickets, sweet tickets, and a bottle of Grey Goose, I'm there.
Well, I'm not so sure they're gonna give you Grey Goose right in the front row, man.
I'll take Absolute.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. I don't think they let you even come near Jet Stadium with any kind of glass bottles in your hand. But big shout out to Herman Fontenot. He did a hell of a job helping this Jordan White, and now he's going to start his next leg of his journey in the NFL, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the one, the only, Lawrence Vickers joining us live tonight via the phone line. In case you wondered where Lawrence Vickers is playing football, none other than the Dallas Cowboys. Lawrence did a stint with the Houston Texans last year. He made it to the playoffs. I thought for sure, just the way things work out for Cleveland Browns fans, Lawrence Vickers would get a Super Bowl ring last year. Foster would have never made it in the end zone in the first playoff game, the only playoff game as a matter of fact, if it wasn't for some key blocks that Lawrence Vickers threw to get this guy to bust through the line and get into the end zone, man. So, we're gonna be joined live on the phone lines tonight. We're gonna talk to Lawrence Vickers. We're gonna talk to Lawrence Vickers about his career with the Cleveland Browns. We're gonna talk to Lawrence Vickers about his career with the Houston Texans, and we're gonna talk about Lawrence Vickers' future with his career with the Dallas Cowboys. I know Lawrence Vickers is very excited to be the newest member of with the draft, he's not the newest member of the Cowboys anymore, but I know Lawrence Vickers is excited to join the Dallas Cowboys this season. He's looking forward to getting out on the field, and he's looking forward to being a valuable member of the Dallas Cowboys. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cleveland Sports 360 show, the one, the only, the greatest blocking back we've had in Cleveland since 1999.
No doubt.
Lawrence Vickers. Lawrence, you're with us, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, LV, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good.
You know, I got a big kick out of knowing you were born in Beaumont, Texas. I don't know if you know, there's another fella right down there in Beaumont, Texas right now, and he says you used to play football right around the corner from him over there. Herman Fontenot. You know Herman?
Herman? Yeah, I know Herman.
He told me
Herman
to make
Fontenot.
sure. Absolutely. Mr. Fontenot told me to ask you to get him a couple tickets to come and see you play in Dallas. He's back down there in Beaumont, Texas now. So there you have it, Larry. Lawrence Vickers, you got to get Herman Fontenot some tickets to come and see you play in Dallas. He's real excited. Is that something you think you can handle?
I got it. No problem.
Okay, so after the show's over, I'll call you up later tonight. I'll give you Herman's phone number, man. How's that?
That's sweet, man. Will do, man.
Yeah, Herman's a hell of a nice guy. He had to go back down in mid-January to help take care of his grandmother, who raised Herman to be the fine gentleman he is. So, Lawrence Vickers, I can't help but to tell you this, man. People are excited I have you on the Cleveland Sports 360 show tonight. They're excited to know that you're doing well in the NFL, and they're excited to hear what's going on in the career of Lawrence Vickers. So give us a little of what's going on, man. Tell us what your role's going to be with the Dallas Cowboys, man.
Actually, man, my role being with the Dallas Cowboys is bringing that blue-collar mentality to Dallas that we had in Cleveland. You know, my attitude, you know, the way I play on the field, and just the energy and everything. So I'm getting a chance to do the exact same thing I've been doing for the last couple of years, and I'm excited about it.
You know, I've been covering your career for a number of years now, and I've written quite a few stories about Lawrence Vickers, and I, for one, really blasted the Cleveland Browns organization for not re-signing Lawrence Vickers. As a matter of fact, at the end of the season when they were in the hunt for a coach, I thought for sure they were going to re-sign Lawrence Vickers, and I said, now is the time to sit down and renegotiate Lawrence Vickers' contract and bring Lawrence Vickers back to Cleveland, because if you don't, we're not going to have anything, man, because I noticed once you left the Cleveland Browns, Peyton Hillis couldn't do anything correct, man. I mean,
They hired some bum from that went. He played both ways. What's his name? Marezerick or some bum fullback? I don't know, man.
Oh man, nah, man. I think it had a lot to do with you know, Peyton had a couple of injuries, you know, and I don't think it was nothing to do with the bad curse or nothing to do like that. But when you take away a key aspect to how things go, and you know, in a piece of a puzzle, it's kind of hard to put a new piece in there that's going to be just like it, because there's only one puzzle like me. I'm on a piece of puzzle like that, and so I wasn't the whole puzzle, but I was a nice piece in the puzzle.
You were a critical piece of the puzzle, Lawrence. A critical piece of the puzzle, man. I mean, people know. I mean, you busted heads. You moved linebackers out of the way. You opened up the holes. And I got to tell you, Lawrence Vickers, I noticed the special teams. There was nothing. I know we lost the special teams coach, but, you know, the coach was never out there running up and down the field, opening up holes for Josh Cribbs, man. I believe that was you in front of Josh Cribbs, leading the way and helping him get some touchdowns.
Absolutely. You know, me and Josh been having our special teams game together since I got there, you know. And I was still a nice piece in our return game and in our punt return, kickoff return and punt return. So it was just like same attitude we used in our package with me and Josh in the backfield. It was like the same thing. We was doing kickoff returns. You remember that part of the year where it was the, you know, the Josh Cribbs package in the offense, and we was running the same things. It was just a lot of good chemistry, man. And that's one thing you can't create, is good chemistry, man. That comes from players working together, being around each other, you know, blood, sweat, and tears together. And once you get that feel for a person, well, you want to make sure that they succeed as much as yourself. You know, that's a blessing to have, man.
You're right about that, and we're speaking here with Lawrence Vickers, former fullback for the Cleveland Browns. Lawrence, I got to ask you, and this is Kenyon Johnson, man. Got to ask you, you played with Colt McCoy for a second there. Who's going to start? Who has more command in a huddle? They drafted the kid Wheaton this draft. Is he going to take Colt McCoy's position?
I don't know. I heard they drafted him in the first round, though.
Right.
So
What?
I mean,
a better question. I'll
I
ask you
had
this.
somebody. I'll say this. I'll give you this answer.
Right.
They drafted a guy in the 4th round, and I left. So I can only imagine if they draft a guy in the 1st round, what's gonna happen. That's all I can say. I don't know. It don't seem very promising to draft another 1st round quarterback and don't expect him to play. That's all I can say about that.
Well, one thing that
But
bothers...
Coach has great person. Coach has all the leadership skills in the world. He's a hard-working quarterback, you know, and he's young, so he only can get better. But his leadership skills should take him far, man.
Another question. A lot of people are tweeting. We get a lot of emails. You were with the Browns organization for a couple of years. They say that the owner in this city really is not involved in the team. You with the organization, is Mr. Lerner a part of this organization? Do you see him often?
I actually, in my years being there, you know, me and Mr. Lerner have had sessions, you know, and I've seen him around on the field a lot, you know, but I think he has a lot to do with the organization, but I also think he has to be hire people he wants to let them do their job off, you know. I think he has respect for the people that he hired and confidence in them to get the job done, because that's why he hired them.
You know, Lawrence, another question we get a lot in Twitter, and you know I had Anthony Dorsett on the show, Levon Kirtland, Ty Law, Blaine Bishop, and I have to ask you the same question that we get emailed quite often. Do free agent players want to come to Cleveland and play football for the Cleveland Browns, man?
That's a tough question. Do people want to come to Cleveland? I would say this.
I think
we were known for losing. And I think that's hard for a player to put in his head going somewhere to where a team known for losing and especially going to a city where they don't know nothing about. So I think it's kind of intimidating to players. But I think once you get there and the guys that are there on that team and the team camaraderie, that's one thing I can say. I've been on one other team besides now being with the Cowboys, and I tell my friends here now, one thing we always had, even if we wasn't winning, we were physical, and our team camaraderie was crazy. Like, it was just the best team camaraderie you could have. Like, it wasn't a time that you could find one guy by himself. They always had other teammates with them, and that's something, you know, I learned from being around other guys that come from other teams. Like, they don't have camaraderie like that. So I guess it's just kind of based on, you know, the things that you believe in that can help a team win and your goals and your values on how you perceive a team to be, you know, and I think that goes based into people's decisions to whether they want to go to Cleveland or not.
Well, you were
But
here
as
for
me, I would have stayed in Cleveland. I would have stayed there. I've grown to love it. It was like home to me, and most of all, the fans were like, you know, like my family, because we had a bond together to where I knew what they wanted to see from the players, and I knew that I was that type of player, and there was mutual respect for it. And, you know, I always got the fans involved because I always say that fans want to see people play football as if they were out there.
Lawrence,
you know,
when you left the Cleveland Browns and signed with the Houston Texans, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was a 2-year deal for $3 million. Is that about right?
Absolutely.
And are you telling me that with the Cleveland Browns, they wouldn't put a $3 million deal on the table for a guy like Lawrence Vickers?
I don't know. They didn't even offer me anything.
Nothing at all?
Nothing. Didn't talk to me about coming back. I expressed on my own that I wanted to be in Cleveland, that I wanted to stay there. I wanted to be there. I wanted to end my career there. I wanted to be all-time Cleveland Brown, you know, player. That's how I felt, because I got accustomed to being in one place, and when you have a vibe like that, that's where you want to be. But, you know, it's not based on whether I want it or not. It's a business. It's up to the people in higher authority, and I guess, you know, the feeling wasn't mutual. That's all I could think about.
Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. If they look at last season playing without Lawrence Vickers, and I don't care what people say, man, with the numbers Peyton Hillis, injury or non-injured, he didn't put up good numbers when he wasn't injured. You know, Josh Cribbs' performance on the kickoff return has suffered because there's no Lawrence Vickers there, man. And I'll go one step forward, Lawrence Vickers. I really think if you were a Cleveland Brown, there's no way James Harrison hits Colt McCoy the way he did in the Pittsburgh game Thursday night, man. I would say Lawrence Vickers bust James Harrison right on his ass before he gets to our quarterback, Colt McCoy, man. I mean, some of the beatings that I see, I mean, LV, you were there, man. I mean, you stopped these guys from hitting the quarterback, man. I mean, you bought people extra time. That was your specialty, right? You loved hitting people. Is that correct?
Correct. I feel like if you got a guy on the other side, I have the utmost respect for James Harrison, first of all. I love the way he plays the game. He plays the game physical. He plays the game as like how I play the game, I feel like. And when it has to do with being inside the play and hitting, I understand everything. But I will say that, you know, some my quarterback get hit like that, there's going to be a problem. we can't have that.
Absolutely. And I would think, and in my opinion, by watching you since 2006 play football, I don't think our quarterback's going to take a hit like that when Lawrence Vickers is on the field, man. That's just my opinion. But I got to tell you, Lawrence Vickers, there's thousands of people in the Cleveland area. I mean, I was getting calls all day today, and they told me, give a shout-out to Lawrence Vickers from me. Joey Caggiano from New Browns Music. Do you remember anything about New Browns Music? Yep. Joey Caggiano said, please tell Lawrence Vickers I said hello, man. I mean, he said he talked to you through the car window one time. You gave him a little interview. And
Yep, I did an interview with him. Actually, that was the day that I did my last interview after Mancini got fired, and they was asking me how did I feel about if I was going to come back or not. And I was like, hey, I'm here to come back. If they want me to come back, I want to be here. You know, I remember that whole interview, and I was just like, you know, but it's kind of out of my hands right now. We just got to sit back and wait and see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised that the Cleveland organization didn't reach out to a guy like Lawrence Vickers. And
that was kind of surprising for me. I'm not going to tell you I wasn't hurt by the fact. Yeah, I was. Because I gave my all. I gave everything I had to that organization. Like, literally. Like, I felt like I played the game how Cleveland Browns supposed to be represented. And when it happened like that, you know, I understand that's the business, but yeah, it kind of hurt a little bit. But, you know, as a man, you got to suck it up and go with what comes to you.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you can't help. I don't know if it had anything to do with the new regime coming in and maybe that threw you for a loop a little bit. But I certainly think that a guy that plays football like Lawrence Vickers would be nothing but a positive asset for the Cleveland Browns. And I still can't get over it. There's thousands of people here, Lawrence Vickers, that can't get over it, man. But, you know, take us back to last year, man. You had to be excited heading into the playoffs. And there was times I saw Foster. Who's he running behind? Lawrence Vickers. I mean, he never got in the end zone until you busted that 53 out of his way in the playoff game last year, man. So give us a little bit. How thrilled were you to make it to the playoffs, man, and help your team?
That was the greatest experience I could ever have as a football player. Walking into a stadium for the first time, being a part of history, I would say, for the first time in my career, being able to play in a postseason game. Like, I got a chance to strap on my shoes, you know, put my mouthpiece in, and then actually go out on the field and attack people in a playoff atmosphere. It was like the first time I got a chance to play NFL football. I cried, man. I cried. I told God, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I don't know what I would have did if I would have felt in the playoffs, man. That's one of the best feelings ever. So I can only imagine how a Super Bowl feels. Yeah,
it's got to be over the top, man. But what's your take on the Dallas Cowboys this year, man? What do you guys think that you guys can be capable of doing? I know everybody wants to think positive. You just picked up a hell of a cornerback with
they picked up my corner, Claiborne. Yeah. I wanted him in Cleveland.
We all wanted Claiborne in Cleveland, man. But you guys got a great cornerback coming your way, man, with Maurice Claiborne.
Absolutely, man. I could tell you this. Before it was mandatory workouts coming, The whole team was there. I was amazed. Everybody was working out ahead of time. So that right there already let me know what time it was. I was like, okay. I felt like being here gives you a home feeling. Like, it's a smooth ran organization, they care about the players, but the players also care about the team, They care about how they represent the team, and they care about team camaraderie. The team camaraderie here is like one of the best I've seen, Just that along, and guys being here, even when they don't have to be here, and working and getting together and doing the things that we need to do to better ourselves and competing and challenging each other. Like, I can only imagine there's going to be great things going on here.
And you got an owner. We talked about the owners earlier in Lerner. Tell us the difference between an owner like Lerner and an owner like Jerry Jones.
I never really got a chance to just chill and talk, like business, as far as that with Mr. Lerner. But I can tell you one thing, being in Jerry Jones' presence was amazing. It's like being in front of, somebody you always wanted to see or you've seen on TV, and then actually getting a chance for him telling you he's interested in you and he watched you and liked the things that you do. And, and him telling you that you remind him of days when it was Emmett and Moose and how Moose was so involved in the offense and things like that. Like, he made me want to go out there and run through a wall right there. So I would say having an owner that respects your craft and understands the fullback position in a whole, and then feeling like this is what a team has to have a great fullback, to be a part of the run game, to be successful and actually believe that and think that the fullback position is relative instead of thinking that the fullback position is not that relative. It's great, man. It's great for you as a player, and it's not to make you want to go out there and get back for that man.
You know what, Lawrence Vickers, there's a need to have a guy like you. Number one, you block for the running back. Number two, you're there for pass protection. You're always an outlet receiver, just in case. I mean, you know what I find incredible? In 90 football games, you've only put the ball on the ground one time, man.
Yeah.
One fumble in 90 football games in the NFL, right?
Right. One time.
One time, man. That's an incredible number, Kenyon, man. One fumble in 90 football games.
I mean, you're talking with a beast here, man. I tell you what, Lawrence Vickers, if I'm not at the stadium covering the Browns, I'm at home. I've got the bar out. I've got a full spread. You've got people in there saying Lawrence Vickers plays the game like we want our Cleveland Browns to play. Tough. When we play the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're in their face. Just like LG said, I'm one of the people, I cannot believe the Cleveland Browns did not pick you up. It wasn't like you were asking for $50 million.
I wasn't asking for that. I just wanted to be appreciative. Just put it like this. I wanted to be in a position where they felt like a guy like me was a representation of what a Cleveland Brown was. Because Absolutely. That's how I felt. I felt like I was a representation of how the fans wanted the Cleveland Brown. I feel like I represented Cleveland Brown football, the old school football of the days of Jim Brown, and how people love to be in that stadium and see players play the game like that. And I just wanted to be appreciated for that and let people and let my coach know whatever it is you need from me to do, it's done. And that's all I wanted to be known for. I didn't want no $20-30 million or nothing like that. I'm a fullback. I didn't expect that. And the same way whether I was getting paid $200,000, $400,000, $500,000 to where I was getting paid $1.9, paid the exact same way. I finished every season, even being 4-12 and 2 and 14. I still played the same way every single time. You knew what you was getting from me, and I thought that was respected, and I thought that's what they wanted.
Well,
and at the end of the day, I thought that would get me what I wanted in the sense of being in one my whole career.
Now you got You got an agent, right?
Yep.
Okay, because if you ever need an agent, I told you last last month. Remember, I said LG will make some phone calls and I'll get that Heckard on the phone, and you thought I was crazy, remember? But I'll tell you, man, I think what happened was you got swept under the rug. I mean, they didn't look at all the pieces of the puzzle. This Shermer came in, and I tell you right now, this is my opinion. I'm not asking you to back me up or nothing because I know you didn't play for Pat Shermer, but I think he was out of his realm a little bit, Lawrence Vickers. I mean, this is a guy that couldn't even manage the clock in Baltimore. We lost some football games last year. You can't pin all the losses last year on the Cleveland Browns on Colt McCoy, man. We had 2 bad snaps that would have won football games with the field goal that would have won the game. We had a bad clock situation over there in Baltimore, which would have won the game. That wasn't Colt McCoy's fault, so I can understand where you started telling Kenyon earlier. Colt McCoy does have the leadership ability to win on a football team, but I think Pat Shermer might be out of
He's just saying that because he's being politically correct.
No, he's not.
If
being
he really,
Colt McCoy has a lot of heart.
If Lawrence was keeping it
No. I would tell you, I wouldn't say that if I had something bad to say.
Okay.
But I honestly, I've been around Colt. Colt is a competitor. I can tell you this. But the guy wanted to learn everything all at one time, and he don't like to make mistakes. And he's been there early, and he's working out, and he's doing all the things you want to do from a football player. He's doing everything that I know that a football player can do to try to better himself. And me, I respect that as a football player because that's the type of guy I want to win and lose with. If I got to lose, I want to lose with a guy that's going to bust his butt.
So you're basically saying you would rather Colt McCoy than Tony Romo?
I didn't say none of that. I didn't say none of that.
Kenyon's always trying to stir some shit up, LV.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a stick.
I don't know where that question came from.
Yeah, I mean, you came in. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys, the Cleveland Browns. But
yeah.
I think what Lawrence Vickers is saying here
I get him.
is Colt McCoy is playing with the same kind of heart. And I said it before, as a guy like Lawrence Vickers, man.
No.
Lawrence
Vickers was a beast.
Sure, but he's the heart,
He had the nastiness. When we played the Steelers, he had the nastiness, toughness. This is not Colt McCoy. I'm
but
sorry.
He's got the heart, man.
I understand what he's saying. He was in the huddle with him, but I don't see Lawrence Vickers, none of Lawrence Vickers' attitude or toughness in Colt McCoy. I don't see
He's got the same kind of
right.
Lawrence Vickers, you think Colt McCoy has a lot of heart?
Yes, I do think he has a lot of heart.
That's man.
Everybody has a lot
The guy
of heart.
gets up. Bullshit. Peyton Hillis ain't got a lot of heart.
That's the only way you breathe.
Peyton Hillis has no heart at all, man. The guy gets a little freaking
Look.
hamstring injury. He's out for 4 or 5 weeks.
When I think of players like Lawrence Vickers,
It's 2 different positions, Kenyon.
It doesn't matter, but the mental attitude, the nastiness, the toughness, you don't give up on any play. I see that sometimes in Colt McCoy, but when you talk about Lawrence Vickers, I've seen that every time this guy
Absolutely.
plays.
That's what Lawrence Vickers just said. He's going to bring the blue-collar mentality to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm anxious to see what I might be a Cowboys fan this year, Lawrence.
Man, I sure hope so, man. We're gonna do great things in Dallas.
Hey, believe me, man.
And
I'm gonna check you out.
I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you that just because I'm a Dallas Cowboy. I'm telling you that because I see it every day. You know, like I know what it takes. I know what it takes to have good team camaraderie. That's first of all, but it's also good when other guys see the same thing and they push you. It's a positive attitude, and everybody's busting butt. And nobody has no ego. Like, you can only think great things can come from that.
So there's nobody on the Dallas Cowboys that has a bigger ego than anybody else, right?
I don't feel like that at all.
Well, that's a teamwork right there, man. I mean, that's what it takes. That's big.
That's where it starts.
I had Herman Fontenot on the show before, and he said some of the problems with the Cleveland Browns that he saw was there was not all that camaraderie that you're discussing now. I mean, there was a few guys that stuck together, but so many.
Because you take the pieces away, put that together. Everybody has we always say that, everybody has a role on the team, right?
Right.
Everybody has a role on the team. And if you take that has that role to make everybody feel like this is the game we've been playing forever, this is what we do. You know, if you take that away, of course, somebody else you're gonna have to bring a person in that fills that role. And if you don't have that person in that role, then there's going to be some problems. And I can tell you this, from when I left Cleveland and for me, seeing all my teammates when they came to Houston and we played them, they was just like, man, we just miss your locker room presence. Like, I don't know if people don't think that it plays a part in a sport, but you got to have guys of all type of contributors on your team because everybody has a certain role to play, and it's up to you to play in that role in order for your team to be successful. And success is not just that we're winning, but we're actually going out there playing hard football and still beating on people, even if we are losing, but we're fighting very hard, and that's all you could ask for.
We got a tweet here, Lawrence, and again, we're speaking with Lawrence Vickers, former fullback for your Cleveland Browns, now signed with the Dallas Cowboys. We got a tweet from Lisa_Big Hips, so I guess she got some big hips. I don't know. She wants to know how good of a teammate was Braylon Edwards.
How good of a teammate was Taylor?
This should be a good
What question is that?
I don't know.
I'll say this. I think Braylon has all the abilities in the world, and I think Braylon's a great footballer. And I think the only thing Braylon would probably be his own worst enemy if that was the case. But besides that, as long as he came to work and worked and played and played up to his ability, I think it would be all right. But the selfishness part of a player is never all right when you have a bunch of people around. So that's how I feel about that.
And he wore a lot of pink suits, right?
No, I never seen him in no pink suit, man. I never seen him in a pink suit.
All right, just want to make sure, man.
Kenyon loses it sometimes, Lawrence. So, Lawrence, this year coming up in Dallas, man, you got some good people in the draft, like we were just telling you. Maurice Claiborne's going to join the Cowboys. Do you feel like you're going to get a few more touches of the football down there in Dallas than you did out in Houston?
You know what? I feel like I always going to the game like this. If something comes my way, it comes my way. I've been in this fullback position for a long time, and it makes you have to be a selfish player. I'm a very unselfish player. I'm always going to be the guy. What I got to do for us to win, that's what I want to do. If they want to give me the ball more, I'll take it now. And if they don't, then I'm just going to knock people out and still make my presence felt. What I got to do, I'm going to do it.
Well, I can see that you're an unselfish player just by the way you play the game, and it doesn't matter if you get the ball or not. You're giving 150% out there. But I would love to see you get the ball just a couple of more times because I think you're a dramatic.
I would also. Now I still got my mentality in me. I keep in case I get it.
Right.
So if I do get it, I'm gonna show it to you.
Well, I can't wait to see it, man. But I just have a feeling you better be, extra paying attention because a couple of times Tony Romo gets in a little bit of a situation. He's going to dump that football right to you, buddy, and you're going to have to.
And I'm gonna be waiting.
I know you are, man. I'm waiting. I'm excited to see the Cowboys play football come this September, man. So tell us. What's your most favorite memory of playing with the Cleveland Browns, man?
I'll tell you this, and I know the fans are going to like it. I remember is when we beat Pittsburgh in the cold, and we out-physicaled them, and they knew we were running the ball, and we ran the Josh Cribbs package the whole day. I think we threw the ball maybe 1 to 2 times that game. Maybe 1 or 2 times, but we ran the ball all day. That's a fullback's dream to just run the ball and you lead the way and you're scoring touchdowns. But it's also good that it was Pittsburgh still, and all the fans got what they wanted. For them to get what they wanted, that will forever be one of my greatest memories, to beat Pittsburgh.
Oh, anytime the Browns can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's a big event.
So that's the Cleveland. I'm still with the Cleveland Browns, man. They're gonna forever be one of my teams. You know, even when I was a player, because, you know, all those guys on that team, I still know a lot of the guys. You know, that's just when you've been in a place for a long time, it never leaves you. And I just know the mindset of the people in Cleveland. And they'll tell you this, you know, you got to play hard. We want you to play hard. You know, we want you to win also now. We do want you to win. But if you could just beat the Steelers for us, that's all I can remember people saying. If you could just beat the Steelers.
Yeah, that's a big win, man. I mean, there's nothing we enjoy bigger than beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no doubt about it. And second to that, I think it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens nowadays because of what happened.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so those are two huge games, man. Now
it was always great to beat up Baltimore.
Yeah, you still talk to some of the guys on the Browns. Like you still communicate with Josh Cribbs, right?
Yeah, I was communicating with Josh Cribbs, Boyle Jackson, Montario Hardesty, Joe Hayden, Mike Adams just left.
Right.
These are just some of the guys I talk to on a regular basis. The old linemen, you know, anytime I see one of those guys, you know, so I'm still always in communication with those guys.
Now, bringing up Montario Hardesty, that's an interesting name.
Exactly.
You know, Lawrence, what do you see if Montario Hardesty could get healthy and stay healthy? What do you see a guy like Montario Hardesty being able to do for the Cleveland Browns, especially now that we have Trent Richardson?
I can tell you this about Montario Hardesty. And nobody knows this, but I know this because that's one of my boys. Like, even with me not being in Cleveland, even when Montario first got there, we were there together every day. Like, that's one of my good friends. And I can tell you this, from the time the season ended, you know what Montario did? He went straight to his trainer, and he's been working out hard to get himself together because he knows what's good for him. And I can tell you this, from the time the football season ended, he went to work. Straight to work. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to sell you a dream on this man. This man has the ambition to be a great. He reminds me of myself a lot. And the skill set that he has, he could be one of the meanest backs in the NFL. He ran across the bench. He knows that he dedicated his whole off to so he can play football and be great.
I don't think you're selling us a bill of goods there. I do believe. I mean, you look at Montario Hardesty. He looks like he's in great shape. It's just unfortunate that he suffered a couple injuries. I mean, hey, my hope is.
And I told him he has a chance to write a great script. He has a chance to write a great script. And, you know, me and Montario, we are both big dreamers. We believe in dreams and coming true. That's the reason you can play the game, you know, as physical as you want to be, you know, because like I said, this is a dream to us. Whether people still realize that, like, we're still kids that grew up wanting to be NFL football players, and even though we are football players, we still know, like, we are lucky to be living a dream, to be doing something that we wanted to do. And let me tell you this, that guy, blood, sweat, and tears football. Do you know, the whole season he was out, when I was there in Cleveland, he came to every running back meeting that I had in my house, watch film with me every day, even though he wasn't playing. Like, you're just not going to get guys to do that.
Right.
And he was doing this, still in every running back meeting, like, still made everything. Like, he has the greatness to be a great player, man. And he just needs to stay healthy. He knows that. I know that. I expressed that to him, that, boy, if you stay healthy and get yourself together, them fans are going to bend over backwards for you.
You know what? I'll tell you right now, Lawrence, give him a call. Tell him to get a hold of LG. I'd love to have him come down here and do a show because he's so close. He can come live to the studio, man. But what I want to tell you is...
You know what? I'll get that done for you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it because I'd love to have Montario. Here's what I'm looking forward to. You know, DeQuell Jackson had a couple of bad years filled with injuries, okay?
Exactly. And you see what he came back and did?
I am hopeful that Montario Hardesty can come back and do the same things that we saw DeQuell Jackson do, man, because the guy was a beast last year. And, you know, nobody wants to be injured, you know? It's just like nobody wants to lose a football game either. So I'm hopeful. I'm
Exactly.
praying that this Montario Hardesty can get his health together. And, he's had a lot of time. And like you said, he's been working real hard. I'm hoping he comes back this year. And I'm hoping that, Trent Richardson could be the boost that this guy needs to have a little more adrenaline flowing and get out there on the field and be able to do something, man. And talking to you tonight, you sound like that's definitely what Montario Hardesty wants to do, right?
That is definitely what he wants to do.
Yeah, so
I know this firsthand.
we saw DeQuell hurt for 2 years, man. It was 2 years.
2 years, and people were saying all type of things about him, but you know what that did? He did the exact same thing that Montario did. He dedicated his whole time to get himself together to where he could play to the ability that he wanted to, and he came back this year. Not only was he a captain, still, but played the game. People wanted to see it, and anytime you seen the play, you seen Quill Jackson right there. Even if you seen the play where it was hustling and somebody broke him chasing down the field trying to go get him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. DeQuell was out there busting his hump, man, and he had a great season. And I really have a feeling that this could happen to Montario Hardesty. What's your thought, Kenyon?
It will happen. It will.
I look at Hardesty, and unfortunately, it's not only in NFL. He had a couple of problems also in college. I do see the skill set in this kid if he can stay healthy. I've seen a phenomenal talent. I've seen him being able to cut, being able to explode. If he can stay healthy, that's the biggest question. Lawrence, what is he actually doing? I know you said he's with his trainer. What is he actually doing?
No, when I tell you he's been ART work, knee work, core work, back work, like doing this training, this usually guys used to take a month or two off. He didn't take no time. He went straight to get his body work. When I say flying from one place to go see the best doctor he can see possible to make sure his body is in correct shape, make sure he's in good shape, make sure his knee is as strong as possible, and make sure he's doing the right thing now. Like Montario called me today. I just got off the phone with him. He's coming to visit me down here in Dallas in a little while on a weekend, and the first thing we talked about, I say, hey, you working? He say, bro, I'm working. And I say, all right, that's all I know. It's one of those things to where when you have that buddy of yours that you know y'all have the same goal and y'all bond due to the sport that y'all both love, and you just know the realness in the person when a person tells you this. And I got a chance to experience because the whole offseason, we was together the whole offseason.
Well, I'm looking forward to a healthy, Montario Hardesty, man. And like I said, I'm hopeful the same thing happens to him that happened to Quill Jackson. I mean, everybody knows it's possible, and with the work ethic you're telling me this guy has, I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes out with here in September, man. And I think Trent Richardson will give him a little bit extra push.
Exactly. Competition is always great. I tell people this all the time. We can have 50 fullbacks. I'm going to play the same. I'm still going to help everybody out. I'm going to give everything that I know about the game just because competition only going to make you better.
And this is your
It only can make you better.
sixth year in the league right now, right?
7.
7. You're going into your 7th year. I mean, you've had 6
years. He's got his pension.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank God. He deserves a pension. And not only that, he deserves a damn hell of a bonus, man. Hey, Lawrence Vickers, I want to wish you the best of luck with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to give you a buzz a little bit later on this evening and give you Herman's number so you can have one of your former Cleveland Brown alumni sitting on the sidelines with you down there in Dallas. You know Herman will be rooting for you, man. And,
Absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for being on the Cleveland Sports 360 show. I know it took me and you a while to get.
Thank y'all for having me, man.
Man, it's been a pleasure, and I can't think of anybody that the Cleveland Browns fans love more right now. And I'm telling you the truth, Lawrence Vickers, than Lawrence Vickers, man. It's a widespread love. You're loved here in Cleveland, man, and the fans really miss you. And I'm sure each and every one of them want to see you get out in Dallas and kick some ass, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Remember, we play Cleveland again this year, Cleveland, so y'all get a chance to see me.
Hey, can you make sure that you miss a block on that, man?
Don't do it, man. Give Give them what they need.
Did you watch the last time we played the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, I did, man. I did.
Did you watch when the Texans played the Cleveland Browns?
I did, and that was embarrassing.
Did you know what we did the whole game?
Run the ball down our throats. And you were the lead blocker.
We
The
saw
whole
it.
game. Did you know how good that felt to me to
I
walk
bet it-
out of that stadium with the victory and look on that sideline and say, yeah,
That's what you lost. Man, hell of
that's
a
what
player.
you lost.
Hell of a player.
Well,
Not to even stick it in their face, because I went over there, shook everybody's hand, and and told them I still appreciate the opportunity that they did give me, but you're on the other side now. You got another color on now.
that's it. That's what being a professional is all about, man. You have a job to do, and
Absolutely.
we respect you for that too, man. And I knew we were going to be in trouble in that game, man. Kenyon and I had to host a NFL roundtable before that game, and we were looking at it. We're going, wow. We never understood it for 1 second why Lawrence Vickers wasn't a
No
Cleveland
one to
Brown.
this day understands that. No one.
No, definitely. It just definitely loses our...
I understand Kellen Winslow. I understand Braylon Edwards. I understand a lot of players. This, still to this day, makes no sense.
None of the fans understand it, man. I'm glad we had a chance to talk to you, Lawrence, and God bless you, man. We'll talk to you real soon. I'll give you a buzz in a couple hours, and stay healthy this year, man. Be blessed, and get out there and win them Dallas Cowboys some football games, man. I hope you get a ring real soon, man. I hope you get a ring.
Man.
I hope Lawrence Vickers gets a ring long before LeBron James gets a ring, man. Thanks a lot, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Be
Talk
blessed.
to you guys, man.
Take it
All
easy,
right,
brother.
bye-bye. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. One of the all-time greatest blocking fullbacks that ever stepped foot in the city of Cleveland, Lawrence Vickers, number 47. You'll see him this year lining up on the backfield with the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm sure Vickers is going to get out there and bust some butt. I mean, what an honor it was to have Lawrence Vickers on the Cleveland Browns and on the show tonight, man. It's unbelievable, man. I mean, I'm
We're
starstruck.
going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about Lawrence Vickers and everything.
This is
that's going on.
unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
We'll
What
be
a
right
guy.
back with more Cleveland Sports 360.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. In case you missed it and you're just tuning in now, we had one of the greats, Lawrence Vickers, joining us live from Dallas, Texas, where Lawrence Vickers will be playing his football because the Cleveland Browns made a grave error, Kenyon Johnson, by letting a guy named Lawrence Vickers walk out of Cleveland, man.
You know what? When I sit back and look at this guy's talent, we don't know the actual business of the NFL. And the only thing I can think of, did this agent cuss out somebody, the general manager or something? Because there's no reason why.
They didn't even talk to the guy,
why
man.
This guy, and if you're talking about salary and everything, like I said, he was not asking for a lot of money. And when you're dealing with the run, imagine how much better this team would have been better last year had Lawrence Vickers. It's almost like we wanted to lose to improve the team. I don't know.
Well, you know, first of all, is $1.5 million a year we could have had a Lawrence Vickers. I think Lawrence Vickers would have played for $2 million for a 2-year deal.
Right.
I think Lawrence Vickers would have played for $800,000 for each year.
Right.
Okay? He signed a $3 million deal for 2 years with Houston. He's with the Dallas Cowboys now. I don't really think it boiled down to money. This is a guy that firmly loved his Cleveland Browns. He firmly loved what the Cleveland Browns of old stood for, that bust-mouth, blue-collar football that he's bringing to the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones went out and got Lawrence Vickers this offseason specifically to bring it to the Dallas Cowboys.
But you have to ask, why did the Houston Texans, why wouldn't they want to keep this guy there? I mean, Foster had one of the best years of his career.
Behind Lawrence Vickers.
Why wouldn't they want to keep him? You know, this guy has to be the most sought-out fullback in the NFL, and for teams to make this guy expendable it boggles my mind.
Kenyon Johnson, this guy is the only true fullback in the entire NFL. There is no other Lawrence Vickers in modern-day times in the NFL. This is a true fullback that goes back. I mean, Jerry Jones knows football, man. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's looking at, and he didn't go out to get a Lawrence Vickers for nothing, man. He wants that blue-collar, bust-mouth mentality. He wants to be able to have a guy that's going to protect the quarterback. And I still swear to God right here, sitting on this table, if we had Lawrence Vickers last year, there's no way Harrison puts him on the ground, Colt McCoy, man.
I like what he said about Hardesty. If I've always said it. I've said it since we drafted him from Tennessee. If he could stay healthy, this guy could be phenomenal. He shows stars. He shows a lot of signs of being a star. The problem is he cannot ever stay healthy. He didn't do it in college. He hasn't been able to do it in NFL. If this guy can put a whole season together with Trent Richardson back there, we can have one of the best backfields, if not the best backfield in the NFL.
The speed coming out of that backfield would be second to none, man. It'd be phenomenal. And I like what Lawrence Vickers pointed out to us tonight. And don't forget, they're good friends, him and Mo Hardesty, man.
Right.
I mean, these guys are buddies. And Monterio is going to fly down and see LV on the weekend. And I got to tell you something, man. I think that this guy's been working on his body so hard, and we're going to get a hold of Monterio Hardesty. I'm looking forward to it. You heard what Lawrence Vickers said. He's going to hook LG up. I'm going to try to bring him down here into the studio. We're going to see what a specimen this guy is. And it happened to DeQuil Jackson.
You going to tell him to take his shirt off?
No.
All right. Just making sure.
But you can just look at the guy. He's like, listen to Lawrence Vickers. He's ready to run out and go through a brick wall. I bet you Monterio Hardesty is built himself up to the same point where he's ready to go out and run through the brick wall. But I want to tell you something, man. Let's cut the guy a little bit of slack. 2 years in the NFL. He's been hampered with nagging injuries. I know he came out of college with the bad knee.
Right.
And I want to tell you, man, DeQuil Jackson, people wanted to get rid of this guy. They thought, what do we need him for? He's sitting over here injured. 2 years he was injured.
I wonder, did Lawrence ever ask Monterio, why did they keep you and let me go? I mean, because I would have kept Lawrence and released Monterio.
Hey, you can't
we'll
figure
never
out.
understand it.
No, you can't figure out. It's just like this past weekend's draft. I wanted to know how many times they let Pat Shurmur make a pick. I know you think this draft was a big-time winner.
I look at the picks. Pat Shurmur didn't make any picks. Heckert made all the picks.
Let's hope Pat Shurmur didn't make any picks, man.
It was an A in draft picks, yes.
I don't give him an A.
I'm
sorry, man. I give the Browns a C in this draft.
We'll stay tuned for unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm going to tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up at 7 p.m., unsportsmanlike conduct tonight right here at streamingsportstalk.com. We want to thank you for joining the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our special guest all the way from Dallas, Texas, Lawrence Vickers. You can go online. You can see the replay in case you're just tuning in now. We'll talk to you next week. We're going to have the Predators in the house, 6 or 7 guys from the semi-pro football team. Al Raditz is the coach, and 6 or 7 of his guys are going to join us right here live in the studio from the Predators.
We're about to debut your show Friday.
Oh, yeah, well, we don't want to get two people too much worked up. Don't forget, Pound for Pound Boxing. Kenyon Johnson's new show is going to premiere, and it's no coincidence. It's the day before the fight, man.
Big fight, Mayweather.
And you're going to have, are you freaking kidding me, right after Pound for Pound Boxing. We're going to have a special guest in the house. Tune in, 7 o'clock for Pound Boxing with Kenyon Johnson. 8 o'clock, you're going to see, are you freaking kidding me? We're going to bring up all kinds of topics, and you're going to sit back and you're going to go, yeah, they're freaking kidding us. Nothing's going to be barred, no holes barred. Keep your children away from the computer. This is not going to be a show we want kids under 13 to see. We'll see you next Monday with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show with the Predators, semi-pro football, joining us live in-house. Good night, God bless. Don't forget to stay tuned for unsportsmanlike conduct. Christian Patterson, Kenyon Johnson, and always the beautiful Kenya Huff.